Hello friends, welcome back to Homegrown and Homemade, the show. Today's episode we are taking outside to the garden because it is all about spring gardening prep today. So whether you are brand new to gardening or you are cultivating a garden that you maybe had started but you need some tips to freshen it up before your spring planting, we're going to go through a checklist of things that I like to do each year and each season as we start the new gardening season. Throughout the episode, I'm going to show you all of the tips to start your garden and prepare it for planting. I'm going to show you some of my favorite resources for gardening, and I'm going to be answering some of the questions that you sent in on Instagram and Facebook, and hopefully help you feel more confident about starting your spring garden. If at any point you have any questions throughout this episode or I don't go over some that you may have, feel free to comment in the comment boxes below. I would love to chat with you and help you out through this process. It is so rewarding growing your own food, and I can promise you, you will not regret starting. First up, let's talk books. So this book, Kitchen Garden Revival, I purchased it when I really wanted to learn more about doing raised bed gardening. This is a fantastic resource. It talks all about how to build your garden beds, how to fill them, what types of things you can plant in them. It's just a really great book for setting up raised beds. And then her second book I recently purchased is called Leaves, Roots, and Fruits. And this one really dives into all of your common things to garden, tips, step-by-step to planting them, harvesting them, all the things. So these two books I highly, highly recommend if you want to learn more about gardening. And then this is a book that my sister-in-law got me, and I actually got this question on Instagram about companion planting because there are plants that you can plant near each other that help them grow. They're beneficial, and so this is a great book to learn more about what plants do best together and what plants shouldn't be planted together. All right, so we're gonna go outside and start cleaning up my beds. I did have a fall garden, so if you're coming off of a fall garden, doing a cleanup of all the dead plants, anything that's not producing, just giving it a good fresh slate, picking any weeds, cleaning up the beds, and then adding in fresh compost. I usually add in compost in the fall and the spring before the two biggest plantings because compost improves your soil structure. It's going to give it nutrients. It's going to help it be more airy and just give it all sorts of good things. And so doing your compost about a month before planting is usually key to let it start doing its work and be ready for the big planting. So if you're starting fresh and you're not cleaning up any beds and you're starting brand new with your beds, get in some soil, add some compost to it if it doesn't have compost already, and then really work it up and then just let it sit. Water it a little bit. My husband totally makes fun of me because he's like, you're watering dirt. But I'm like, the compost needs water to do its thing. And so get your soil set, water it, and then you'll be ready to plant come mid-March. If you're like me in Texas, I usually plant around like the 10th through the 17th. Sometimes I get the itch a little bit earlier, but really like mid-March is usually a very good time to plant here in zone, I think we're 9A, they changed our zones. We used to be 8B, but whatever zone you can look up on your local gardener extension. making good progress on cleaning out all of the beds. They're looking so much better than when they started. I just love a clean slate. This bed I haven't gotten to yet. We ran out of daylight. Look at the cilantro. I cut it back right before we were about to have a big freeze, and it's already come back up. These look like they're about to bloom. These are snapdragons. So pretty. Then we still have carrots growing over here. Some leeks. Y'all, I don't even know. This was so fresh last spring. There's so many little weeds that have popped up, so I'm gonna really need to do some de-weeding. Yeah, things are looking really good. I went ahead and left these Brussels sprouts because they're growing nicely, and I've got some on there. Look at them. And look at this. It's like random lettuce that's growing out of the side. Now let's get to work adding in our compost. Compost is a little bit wet, so it's making a mess on my gloves, but we're gonna work it into the soil a little bit so that it can get down into the existing soil and the nutrients will get right to work. Okay, we're back with some of our reader questions, and one of the first questions that I got, and one of the most frequent questions, is what can I grow as a beginner? What is the easiest thing to grow in the garden? And whether you are planting out in a big garden, whether you're growing them in pots or containers, there are lots of things that you can grow that are quick, easy, and very rewarding to grow yourself. So I've made a list here. I've got lettuce on the list. Lettuce is one that is going to pop up fast. My arugula and my salad mix are always the first things to sprout. I'm talking within like days. And you don't need a lot of space. You can plant those out in a big garden, in pots or containers. They'll do well. So any of your lettuce seeds, strictly just throw the seeds in the ground, cover them with a light layer of soil, water, sunlight. You're gonna be growing lettuce before you know it. Radishes are very quick and easy. Those are ones that my daughter likes to plant the seeds and see them really quickly. Tomatoes, they do require a little bit of space. So either a pot by themselves or an area of the garden by themselves with a cage over it. Tomatoes are great producers. They're going to continue producing well into the summer. And so those are a rewarding plant to grow. Zucchini is also a very abundant grower. It does require a bit of space. So I recommend that one in like a raised bed or a regular garden versus like a container, because the plants get big and zucchini is so much fun to grow. Also green beans. There are two different varieties. I mean, there's a lot of varieties, but two main ones. There's either ones that grow as a bush variety or a pole variety. I have more luck with the bush green beans. They produce really well and they don't take up that much space. So you could put them in a little container on your porch. You can put them in your raised bed or plant a big row in your big garden. Those are really easy to grow. A lot of your herbs are also easy to grow. You can grow them on the porch in pots, or you can grow them out in the garden. Basil, parsley, mint, cilantro, those are all really easy to grow. You can start them from seeds, or you can buy the plants already ready to go from your local stores, and you already have a head start and a plant with stuff on it ready to use. So those are pretty easy to work with as well. And I also want to encourage you that if something dies, it's a learning experience. I have killed a ton of plants. I have had a lot of success and a lot of failures, and that's where the magic happens. That's where you learn what works and what doesn't work, and you can grow figuratively and literally. You can grow from one season to the next and learn what worked well and what didn't work well. So I just want to encourage you to not let the fear of failure keep you from even trying. Just try something and see how it goes. Another question that I got is, how do you know how much to plant for your family? Whether you're just a couple or whether you're a big family, how do you know how much to grow? I say this one is learned a little bit by trial and error. I think I have seen some charts going around about like how many plants you should plant to feed your whole family for a year. It's like a lot. You need like a huge garden. So for me, like for each season, I kind of look and see how much space this comes into, like drawing out my map, looking on your seed packages. On the packets, it will show you how you're supposed to plant them, whether it's in rows or little mounds. So that can help you plan out how much to plant. For me, I like to plant like a little bit of everything. And so I will do maybe 1 or 2 packs of seeds per item, depending on what it is. Like I know my family loves green beans, so I'll do 2 packages of seeds for that so that I can make sure to get a lot of green beans. Jalapenos, my husband usually wants to plant a whole bed just with peppers, which is totally fine because we eat a lot of salsa, make a lot of pico, jalapeno jelly. So we plant a ton of peppers. So this is something where it depends. Like if you think my family only eats 3 types of vegetables, fill up your garden with all 3 of those. Or if your family wants a big variety, then do a little bit of everything and experiment with it. If you plant, 2 packages of seeds for zucchini and you're like, I cannot possibly eat all this zucchini, it's coming out my ears, then maybe next year, you only need 1 pack. So really it's a learned process of I planted too much or I didn't plant enough. And there's also so much joy in sharing your fresh produce with your neighbors and your friends. I have a few neighbors and friends who I will call and say, I have a ton of this, would you like some extra? And it is just so rewarding to be able to share that with them. So if you end up with too much, just share it. I want to thank you for watching this episode. Overall, I hope you leave this episode feeling ready to go be a farmer and go tackle those gardens, start preparing them, start grabbing that soil, watering the dirt, and getting ready for spring planting next month. It is my very favorite season. I cannot wait. It's gonna be so good. Thank y'all for watching. I'll talk to y'all later.